All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. This is your first time here, click that subscribe button. I know it's been a while since I did a video on a little pistol. They seem to be pretty popular though. Apologies to my regular subscribers for taking so long to do videos. It's just been a hectic 2024 to say the least. Long story short, you know, a few of my subs who know me personally are aware of this, but my dad had a stroke in January and moved him down here with us on March the 1st of this year. So my wife and I had become full-time, almost full-time caregivers, but I will say in the last month or so, he has really progressed a lot to be on his own, independent and things like that. But needless to say, you know, it was quite a undertaking, taking up a lot of time and things like that and everything. So welcome back to my subs. Hope you guys are all doing well, but let's take a look at this little gem today. Look at that little bitty Colt. If you're here already, you probably know, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, that this is a Colt 1908 Vest Pocket is what they call it. And we're going to do some slow pans while I talk about this little thing a little bit. And this is, again, this is just kind of like a lot of my videos on these little pistols. This is just kind of like a show and tell, trying to avoid the light reflections there, but still get you guys where you can see the engraving and the stamping. Kind of like a show and tell where we'll just look over these little guns and talk about them a little bit. I am a big fan of small 25 ACP, 32 ACP mouse guns, as most of you guys know, 22, stuff like that. Especially this one. This one is designed by none other than John Moses Browning. And those of you that have seen my other videos, like on the Colt 1903-32, the baby Browning, things like that. You know, of course, John Moses didn't really design the baby Browning, but yeah, John Browning was very renowned engineer, gun designer, and I'll show this clear for you guys too. The magazine is in it. Take a look at the magazine. This is the original, what they call the old two-tone magazines. But yeah, gosh, if we were to go on and try to list all the things John Browning designed, I'll touch on him here. Probably his most famous design is the Colt 1911, which is the 1911 45 ACP today. He designed that platform, numerous lever action guns, the Winchester, what was that, 12 gauge pump shotgun that was used a lot more when I can't remember the name of it. Designed that, the Maudus, the big old 50 caliber belt fed machine gun that's still in use today, you know, in different places around the world. The Browning high power, the Browning, what is it, the SR-22, the little 22 semi-automatic takedown pump. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I think he's credited with 25 ACP cartridge, 32 ACP cartridge, the 45 ACP cartridge, I believe. I might be wrong on the 45. 32 and 25 for sure, he's credited with designing those. But yeah, he was the designer for this back in the day. This was before, you know, concealed carry became such a, I guess I almost would call it a fad, is what it is today. In some regards, you know, everybody, you know, a lot of people can legally conceal carry nowadays. And this just goes to show you back in the day, a small, easily concealed firearm like this was in demand. A big demand, so that's why they made them. Now this was, I think this was the predecessor to this was the FN model 1906, which John Browning also designed, but that was the European version. It was made by FN, of course, and then this one came out in 1908 and was built by Colt. They built probably, I'm thinking just over 400,000 of these, if memory serves. I think they made them up until 1948, 1908 to 1948. This particular one was made in 1919, according to Colt, and looking up the serial number. This is probably just before, no, I take that back. This is probably just after they put in the magazine disconnect. I think around 1916, 1917 is when they started putting the magazine disconnect for these. And that means this will not fire without having a magazine inserted into it. You can see some John Browning similarities, of course. Has the little grip safety, the standard safety that's in the usual thumb position. Those familiar with 1911s, you know, you should be familiar with that, instinctive. Little bitty sights, y'all. I don't even think you can see that front sight down there, but it's there. See that? This is probably the smallest sights that I've ever seen on a firearm. And I know it's not showing up very well in that close-up, but there is, you can actually get a very small sight picture if your eyes are good enough. This is a striker-fired firearm, which means it does not have a hammer. It uses a striker, just like the baby Browning, just like Glocks nowadays. A lot of striker-fired firearms are pretty famous nowadays, of course. Famous, I say probably famous, but more like well-known. But yeah, it's just a little bitty 25 ACP. How small is it, you may ask? Well, let me do this. Let me compare it to one of today's popular carry arms. Hang on. Let's look at an LCP Max next to this. It is, to put it simply, rather huge in comparison. And it's always hard to show this on camera. How much longer it is, how much thicker, how much deeper. Now, of course, this is 380. This is 25 ACP. Now, the LCP, this is an LCP2, is a 6+1, so you get 7 rounds total. And this is also a 6+1 capacity. So it's kind of weird when you think about it. Maybe it's kind of like cell phones. Y'all remember cell phones back in the late 90s, early 2000s? They were trying to make them as small as possible. They came out with the little Motorola's and the little Nokia's, all these little tiny phones. Everybody wanted the smallest phone they could get. And then, along about, mid-2000s, guess what happened? Smartphones came along, and now they've gotten bigger. Has the same thing happened with concealed carry? People think they need this much firepower. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, of course, God forbid, if I ever had to use one of these in a self-defensive situation, I would want the most firepower I have. But by the same token, I want to be able to carry it comfortably. These are very attractive for that purpose. They're so small. How small are they? Well, we're doing a comparison here. Let's look at another pretty popular one today. Well, not so popular, but one I still carry. This is the Kel-Tec P32. This one's 32 ACP. Distinct advantages. This one is a 7-round magazine, so you have 8 rounds total, 7+1. But still, even it is quite a bit bigger. Now, as far as the thinness, it's closer than that LCP2 was, for sure, as far as the thickness of it. But it's still, gosh, I carry one of these very often, and it's like, man, these are so much smaller. I mean, really, the next closest, smallest one I can think of is going to be a baby Browning. You guys, if you haven't seen my video on this, check it out. I'll try to link it up here in the top right so you can check it out. But yeah, the baby Browning is a little bit smaller than the Colt 1908. See that? It's a little bitty feller. Now, like I previously mentioned, this is not a John Browning design. They inherited some of the characteristics from this one to this one, but the same guy that did the, what was his name? Dudrik Suave or something like that. It's some Belgian designer that finished this up, that designed this. And I think he's also the one that finished the design on the Browning High Power. Maybe I was mistaken earlier. Maybe the Browning High Power was not a John Browning design. I think the Browning High Power was finished up by that Belgian guy. But he was a co-worker of John Browning's. Small little gun, guys. Let's see how much this thing weighs. Let's drop the mag on this LCP2. There's one in the chamber on this one. Chamber, we got 9.9 ounces. With the full mag, we're at 13 ounces loaded. I think this is probably going to weigh close to that unloaded for this little Colt. 12.3 ounces. So, I wish I had some 25 rounds. Let me go ahead and put the mag on there too. Come to think, I don't have any 25 ammo handy. 13.2 ounces unloaded. So I'll weigh like an average 25 round. I'll try to drop a weight in here in this point in the video if I remember to. P32, this one's loaded. 10.2 ounces. Man, why are these so lighter? Well, you know what? See this right here? The same on this Ruger. This is called plastic. Plastic does not weigh as much as steel. This one is all steel, so except for the rubber grips on it. So that's one of the ways, you know, nowadays, of course, with the advanced polymers, and I'm not knocking them. I mean, they're good weapons, good reliable weapons. That's one of the ways they get everything so much lighter nowadays, using those polymers. But again, I just want to take a look at this, guys. Let me know what y'all think of these little Colts. I've had this one in the collection twice now. I had it traded off to my buddy Trey for a Randall knife, and then got it back here recently on another trade for an old, what did I trade for it? Oh, a Victory, Smith & Wesson Victory, yeah. Neat little guns. I wish Colt or Ruger or Smith or somebody like that nowadays would really put in a design effort to make a nice little 25 or maybe even 32 ACP, a nice little small, tiny, compact semi-auto again. But with today's safety features built in and all that good stuff, wouldn't that be cool? This one's still being made, not under Baby Browning, but I believe it's PSA, Precision Small Arms in the US. They still make a version of the Baby Browning. Thanks for watching, y'all. Be safe out there. Have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'll see you next time.